What's up, guys? Not the winner here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about my new build. A lot of you guys were running my high DR builds, and it looks like they patched DR and kind of didn't really tell us about it. So I'm running this new shock build. The only archetype I still need to level up is Archon, and the only archetype that we need for this build is Archon. So, one of the things that we're doing is a shock based build. Increase overall shock damage by 20% and overloaded damage by 50%. We have perfect dodge triggers a 3-meter AoE that deals 217 shock damage and applies overloaded. As you saw just before this, we had the shock basically explode these apocalypse level guys in one hit. Increase shock damage by 10% and shock resistance by 15. And perfect dodge increases critical chance and critical damage by 15% for 15 seconds. We also do have Bright Steel Ring for the fastest evade roll regardless of encumbrance because we are still running our Lido set. Right now we only have 73.6% DR. You could swap in DR onto your heart using your relic fragments if you really needed to, or if you really felt like safer with that. But instead we're running the 15% armor from this, the 10% elemental damage for our shock, and the 10% skill damage, because the idea behind this is going to be using the Archon skill as much as possible, not the level 0 one. I'll go over it in a second. Now, Enigma, obviously being a shock weapon, just got nerfed recently due to how overpowered it was, and it's still pretty damn powerful. So if you're actually maximizing with the extra shock damage of 30% from this one and this one, the bonus to overloaded, and then the perfect dodges for overloaded, you can dodge, you can fire, you can do everything you need to, and they're constantly getting knocked back from the shock, and they're taking tons and tons of extra damage, especially when using skill effects. Over here, we went back to our Huntmaster rifle. Now, of course, the Nightweaver's fantastic. I mean, the weapon from it is absolutely fantastic, but the Huntmaster with Voltalic Runjor, it just launches a slow-moving orb, pulses every 0.5 seconds, and hits the enemies for 84 shock damage and applies overloaded. We want them to stay overloaded as much as possible to deal extra damage to overloaded people. So once again, just keeping our overloads up, and it's only 850 mod power requirement. Our Ruined Heart is giving us 5 health regen and 500 mod power over 10 seconds. So we will have to be using our heart if we get hit a bunch. But the goal is to not be hit a bunch because we're evading. We're using those perfect evades to shock, and then we're getting more and more shock damage out utilizing the Enigma and then the shock benefit on this weapon. Going into the Archon, though, what we get from its perks as we unlock it is increased mod damage by 5%. Obviously, we get the Flash Caster trait, so when it's maxed, 50% increased mod and skill casting speed. So you're going to be able to get your skills off very quick and your mods off even faster. After casting a mod, 5% of mod power spent is regenerated to all allies over 10 seconds. That's absolutely huge. Reduces mod power requirement for all mods by 15%, so you're able to use them more often and get them back faster. Using a relic grants 200 mod power for both equipped mods. So we're getting 200 from this and 500 from the relic, and that basically gives us the entire amount that we need to utilize Voltalic Render. Well, almost. Right now we only have Reality Rune, which is a protective shield that slows the projectiles and gives us more DR. DR past 80% is pretty much absolutely useless now, so we're looking to get Havoc form. As you can see, it's a shock-based form. Unleashes the power of the Labyrinth, lasts 30 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 72 seconds. But we're running reduced skill cooldowns in our traits, which I'll go over soon. So we have Fire, Lightning Tendrils, 706 shock damage per second to targets within 15 meters, raises a 3-meter energy shield dealing 35 shock damage per second, reducing incoming damage to allies by 50%, and then that's when you're aiming and not firing. And when you dodge, you get a blink evade dealing 630 shock damage to all enemies within 5 meters. So you can blink evade away, fire them with lightning tendrils, and absolutely obliterate them. Let's go over the traits though. We're going to be having Flashcaster maxed out once we do get the archetype leveled up. We're going to have Fortify with 50% armor effectiveness to get us up where we need to in the armor so that we're not sitting in like the low 50% here. We got Regrowth on only to level 5 for 0.75 HP per second, just a small amount to be regenerating over time. And we do have triage for additional healing, so that when we do activate the heart, it's just getting that additional buff that we need to make sure we're healing fast as hell. Invulnerability window here is going to be forced on us, but it's actually not a bad thing because it makes us more immune and we have a better dodge. Additional health here, very, very useful in case you do get hit. The 155 should keep you safe from just getting one shot by most things. So that does allow you time to regroup, dodge, get a perfect dodge, shock them back. Mod power generation maxed out. We want to be getting those mods back constantly and being able to use them constantly. And 20% skill cooldown so that we can actually use that Archon skill all the time. Well, not all the time, but as often as possible so that we're constantly being able to put out as much shock damage as possible. Now, I had to decide how I was going to split the remaining points. I put all 3% in lifesteal. We want to be able to shock them so bad that we're stealing so much life that it feels like we almost can't get hurt. And then the bark skin for 4% DR just to get us up to a nice 73.6. It felt better to me than the 69, and I didn't want to put it into 69 point whatever, and I didn't want to put it into regrowth or triage. That's totally up to you, and I will be getting 5 additional points because I haven't grabbed the new trait points since the update. But this build is going to be pretty powerful. I was working on it. Well, I was working on the idea of it and building a shock build prior to the patch, and hadn't gotten around to fully testing it yet since I hadn't gotten around to leveling my Archon. But since we need this build out ASAP, since you guys need a new build for your... Did I not rest at the zone? Since you guys need a new build to handle your apocalypse mode, I figured I'd get this one out to you as soon as possible. Sadly, I'm not going to get to show off the Archon ability from it, but I want to show you guys just against some basic mobs here, and then we can go ahead and take on the boss. Yeah, I should have leveled the Archon the other day. Did they not respawn? Okay, whatever. Hi, guys. So that one wasn't considered a perfect dodge, so it didn't actually do the shock effect. Hey, guys, come on, land. That was, so it did shock them. Gets off a chunk of damage. We do another perfect roll. And, like, you could still take a hit or two. We're not regenerating very fast, but then we start to fire the gun, and it deals way, way, way more damage now. We still have the... bandit on it, so we're getting the ammo directly back into the gun. And let's go ahead and check this on out. So we can go ahead with this one and go like this, fire the slow moving orb. We can put a few of these down and around, and look how quickly it just tears through their health now. Now, of course, the idea is to be dodging with this build. Oh, whoops, pulled up a menu. Oh, I did not swap that off. Whoops. Oops. There we go. But yeah, you do have to use your hearts again. You do have to at least pay attention a little bit. And we can save a double like this. I can go ahead and like spray all this ammo. And then pull back the double and I get all that ammo back. But yeah, this will help you deal way more damage on the Apocalypse difficulty and make the Enigma feel way more powerful again, and allow you to actually dodge past a ton of enemies while killing them in the process, or at least knocking them back so you can keep on escaping the combat. And if we had the Archon skill, we would be tearing through things, but hey, we gotta deal with what we got, right? Okay, so we did that. We can throw out the ball like this. Oh, hello. So that's how much shock damage it's dealing on Apocalypse to these guys. That's crazy. Does that not count? So let's go ahead and do this. Do another one of these. We have enough to do this again. Also, one thing that you can do with that ball is you can shoot it and overload it like that.
Holy hell.
But yeah, I mean, like, not even using that skill, just by popping these down, like, just by using the Enigma mainly, I was able to crush the entire first boss. If you overload this actual thingy here, it can deal way, way, way more damage. That's something that I would recommend if you're trying to kill a bunch of guys. As we know, the overload damage makes things happen, or makes it take way more damage because of the shock device. Overall, pretty darn powerful. Could be used in a bunch of different situations. Obviously, I was playing like crap with the shooting. I haven't used the Huntmaster rifle since really the start of the game, so sorry about the aim there, guys. But yeah, pretty easy to crush the bosses, deals a ton of damage, and once I do get my Archon fully leveled up, that Havoc form is going to be dealing such immense amounts of damage that the enemies are just going to totally melt. The only issue that I could see with this build, obviously dying from certain hits, but if the tendrils don't reach far enough, then you're going to run into a few issues. But you could always make a copy of yourself and set yourself up for a reboot if you ever need it. That's one of the ideal things about this build. You're just going to be able to set yourself up for multiple reboots. You're going to be able to lower your threat generation with override. You're going to be using Shark to be able to sprint and gain additional stacks of damage. And then there's Loophole. So you deal additional damage when enemies are distracted. And go for the Archon primary, where you're automatically generating 2 mod power per second, but casting a mod increases all mod generation for 50% for 6 seconds. So you could literally cast a mod, like one of my fires of Enigma's Blast, and then I could use the heart and generate way more mod generation. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.